Hi everyone, I'm JD, welcome back to my channel. Alright, this is Art Stories Part 8. Just to update you, I have been working on the mental health book, art book for every day this week, and yesterday I finally did a bit of a proofread, which ended up being a rewrite and a restructure, and I have sent it off today, started sending it off today to my book team and awaiting the first initial feedback. So a little bit scary, but whenever you put yourself out there, it's a little bit scary, but also exciting, and I'm so glad that I have got a first draft done. So, alright, let's just get into these pictures, and this one is called ACT or Values. ACT stands for Acceptance Commitment Therapy, and it was the biggest tool that helped me through my depression and anxiety. So basically what it is about is accepting the way things are and then committing to living the best life you can anyway. Because when I was in the midst of depression and anxiety, I was just frozen, kind of just drifting, doing nothing. Little Keanu's playing with his toys. And the way this book helped me, and ACT helped me, was to go, it's okay that you feel this way, but let's do what is helpful and let's commit to living according to your values. So the feelings of fear or stress or worry or sadness or self-hatred, they can all stay there if they want. They can be there and they won't have to stop me. I can still go, what do I value, and do whatever it is that I value. So for example, I can read, I can still write, I can still create, I can still give, I can still share my stories and do these things that I value, like hating myself or not being happy with the way things are or having thoughts that aren't helpful. Doesn't stop me from reading a book or writing or creating. It doesn't stop the joy that those things give me, if that makes sense. And so in the analogy, there's this boat that the book uses, there's this analogy, and when we are just in that world, we're just drifting, and if you want to go somewhere, if you want to go to dry land somewhere, the way to do that is, or one way to do that, is to point at your values. And that helped to get me moving again. And it stopped me fighting, it stopped me trying to get rid of thoughts, it stopped me from trying to fight fear or be, I don't know, depressed about the way things were, and instead go, nope, okay, well this is the way it is, I'm still going to go ahead and do what I love, do what gives me joy, and do what I value. So that's that one. This one here, okay, so I'm doing like a little bit of a, I don't know, I think I do a bad job of explaining my stories behind my drawings because it's just off the top of my head, you know. Whereas in the book, I've written about these drawings, the mental health ones anyway, in my book, and I can actually, you know, write what I want to say. So the book, I'm glad that's out there now, well, you know, in the works, because I feel like these videos, I just share whatever comes to me in the moment, and it might not necessarily be exactly what I meant to say or all of what I wanted to say, but yeah. Anyway, this one's called Split Focus, and I don't know, it's kind of about how I have lots of different passions in life, lots of things that I want to do and dreams, and sometimes it can be like, what do I choose? But this picture was just encouragement to me, knowing that when you seek God first, put Him first, then He's the one who is in all your projects, and He'll guide you to those projects, and He'll not make those projects be in vain. Like if you spend all your time doing something, it won't be in vain because God is in it. And then the raindrops, I've got a picture coming up later called Be Like Rain, but rain just means how, in this picture, sometimes it means tears and sadness in my other pictures, but in the ones coming up it means doing what you're made to do because it will bring life to others. So that is that one. And then this one is called something like, you know that saying, the grass is always greener on the other side? it did a bit of a play on words and did something like there's more knowledge on the other side. And it came about because I had this moment in my life, at a time where I had this moment in my life where I was just like, I always, hey honey, what's up? Are you meowing? Sorry. Moment in my life where I kept thinking that there was always this knowledge or wisdom and stuff I needed to know, like important information over there. And so I was always, learning is one of my values. I love learning, but it got to a point where it was a little bit frustrating to me because I was always thinking, oh, there's something else I need to know. There's always something else I need to learn, and never just being, I suppose, content where I was with what I knew. I always thought maybe that I was missing out on information, or that if I didn't have this information, I was lacking in some way, or that kind of thing. Knowledge, wisdom, they're some of my values as well. And I'm pretty philosophical. I'm pretty into theories and all that kind of stuff, and always love learning new things. So usually it's a joy for me. But at this time I was just like, there's not enough time in the world to know everything. And I wanted to know everything and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to move the chair over and Keanu can jump directly onto the table rather than onto my back. Maybe that's what I'll do. Hey Keanu! You want to say hello to everyone? I love it that he wants to come up here and be with me when I film. I'm not sure why, but he always seems to want to get onto the table when I'm filming. Alright. This next picture just expresses a simple idea. I'll get it out. It just expresses the idea that God is everywhere, and so this yellow, it represents, His glory everywhere. I think the way I kind of see it is He is everywhere. Sometimes we just don't see it, and it's like putting on a pair of glasses. And as soon as you put those glasses on, you can't help but see God everywhere. And I know some people say things like, how on earth can you believe in God when you look at the world or stuff like that? But I go, no, how can you not believe in God when you look at the world? I mean, there is so much beauty, and there is so, if I just look at people, I just think, wow, God is amazing because He created people. And of course I got into a funk where when I was going through depression and anxiety, the world was a dark place, and I didn't, people weren't a great thing in my life at that time, from my perspective. But I just got back to my original perspective that I see God everywhere, His goodness everywhere, His glory everywhere. And this thing, like, if people say to me, there is no God, I'm like, the fact that you are even talking and existing and right here in front of me shows me there is a God. Because I just think He's a genius for creating people. Like, how amazing that we have our thoughts and our feelings and our passions and our dreams, and I just am in awe of people. Hi Keanu, honey. And in animals. I mean, I just see God in animals, and I see God in little Keanu, and Keanu shows me God when I look at him. And sometimes I can get kind of overcome and overwhelmed by how much He means to me, I suppose, and that's just God. That He would give me this amazing gift of a little animal. He is so cute. I'm getting distracted. Okay, let's get onto this picture. This one is called something like, I don't know, the bigness of God. The greatness of God. Because something that I can struggle with is how I can be this person where on one hand I just see all like the wars and the famines and the mess in the world, and how I can get so down about that, and yet on the other side to see all the good in the world and the laughter and the joy. How can I be a person who's big enough to contain all of that, the feelings of and the reality of, yes, there is bad stuff in the world and I feel for that, but also I see all the good stuff in the world and I feel joy about that. How can it feels like, how does that work in me? How could I reconcile that? And, because I could feel guilty, how can I feel good about the good stuff when there's people suffering? And, well, how can I open myself up to the suffering when there's good in the world too? Like, I felt like I was betraying one part of myself to the other if I went, I don't know, if I held both in me. But then I looked to God, and He's my example, and He manages somehow, I don't know how he does it, but he's just so big he can do this, that he can contain every single emotion. And because he sees the whole world all the time, so he sees all pain at all times, and he sees all joy at all times, and yet he's big enough not to come apart at the seams like I feel like I will sometimes. He can somehow hold that tension in himself and go, it's okay, this whole stuff exists, the good, the bad, and everything. And he can still function. Like, I felt like I couldn't function, but he somehow manages to still bring his goodness, to bring his light, to keep restoring the world, and to laugh with those who are laughing, and to cry with those who are crying. He is an expert at that, and I need to learn from him how to do that. Hey, honey. Oh, you're so cute. I love him. Okay, this one is called... Hang on, honey. Out of Control. And came at a time when I was feeling out of control, because my feelings were just all over the place, and they were so overwhelming and felt out of control, and it felt like they were going to burst out of me, but I didn't know how to express them because I didn't learn how to healthily feel or process or express emotions. And one way that I could at least find some relief was to draw them. And so this is kind of about me just looking like a mess. You know, I'm all these colours and I'm a mess. I'm not my normal blue self. And then all of these, you know, the spirals, you know, confusion and everything, and representing all the different feelings that were in me. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. And the squares, this is me trying to control everything. As a control freak, you know, I'd want to squash these emotions in and control them. But this is just about how the emotions wouldn't be controlled. They just wanted to come out everywhere. So that is that one. Learning to deal with emotions. And then this one is called Off the Wall, and it is about how I felt like I was not normal and I was living a different life to other people when I was going through depression and anxiety. But this can also just be in general, like sometimes we can feel like we're not normal. And it felt like everyone else was living life normally, and they saw the world normally and functioning normally along this path here. Everything was the right way up for them, but for me it felt like everything was upside down and back to front and all over the place. And it's like, how can I engage in the world with these normal people when I feel just so not normal and crazy? And I guess, yeah, I kind of just, this picture encourages me to embrace it. You know, I don't have to be normal. I can see things the way I see it. I can, my experiences are valid, and maybe not everyone will understand them or accept them, but I can know it's true to me, and it just, yeah, that's my reality, and accept it rather than be like, oh, I need to be like everyone else. Alright, honey. Look at him, he's like a little koala, how he latches on. And he hugs my hand. Alright. Next one is called Live by Faith. And it's all about an insight that I got from my 12 years serving at Beach Mission, which is a family holiday program run by Christians. I did that every January for 12 years, and one of the biggest lessons I learnt there was that God goes before us, He's with us in our present, and He was behind us. He's always preparing us to do whatever He calls us to do. He's with us as we do what He calls us to do, and He keeps calling us on. So God is above us, below us, and all around us and in us and all of this kind of stuff. And these hearts represent different people, and how when we come together in community and serve together, it's just a really beautiful thing. And when we live by faith together, knowing that God is all around us in what we're doing, in every part of our lives, it's just so beautiful. Yeah, I wrote a book about Beach Mission. That was the most recent book that I've written, you know, before the mental health book. And and yeah, I still am yet to publish that one, but hopefully that will come out some stage. Oh, honey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Or if anyone's interested, let me know. And I can make that available somehow. Maybe not. I know my other books are available on Amazon to buy as ebooks, but I can maybe set it up differently, like a PDF or something, if anyone's interested in buying the Beach Mission one, because there was so many lessons I learned from that experience, and oh my gosh, it impacted my life like nothing else. Anyway, so this one is called I love you. I do love you. Yes, I do, my little Keanu. You go over there then. Alright. Okay. Okay, no. It's not going to move out the way. This one's called I Want My Heart Back. And it's all about how I used to... well, during this time, I didn't want my heart. I imagined myself going to a rubbish bin and dumping my heart in it because my heart was just so bruised and broken, and I just was like, too painful to have it. I don't want it anymore. And then I got to a point where I was like, no, I actually want my heart back. And I got to a point where I was like, yeah, people just trampled all over it, life trampled all over it, and I'm going to take it back. One of the things that helped with this was a book by Shauna Niequist. I have no idea if that's how you say it. Present Over Perfect. And her insight about, she was just saying she liked her nature. She was a whimsical person. She was a nurturing person. And it made me realise when I looked at myself, those weren't two words that resonated with me, but two words that did with words that have always been described as kind of happy and cheery and spirited and passionate. And I lost that during my depression and anxiety, and I didn't know who I was anymore, and I wondered if I ever did. Oh, hello, Keanu. He just jumped onto my chest that time. Hi, honey. Hi, baby boy. Aren't you gorgeous? Oh, don't bite my cheek. So, this one's all about how I wanted to reclaim my cheery nature and my passionate, spirited nature. I realised that that was actually part of me, and I did like that part of myself, and I wanted it back. And so all along I thought my identity crisis made me lose myself, and what I found was I found myself, and that I really was a cheery person, I really was a spirited person, and now though I could fully embrace it, fully live it, and fully acknowledge it now that I'd gone through that whole identity crisis. Okay, so this one is called The Story of a Heart. Ow, Keanu. No biting, hey? And all about how sometimes my heart can feel like it's being stabbed, like it's got a hole in it, like it's empty, like it's a target for arrows, but sometimes it can also shine. My heart can bring light into the world. Sometimes my heart feels like it's broken. Sometimes this one's a good one too. This one's called about firecrackers, a word I was given, and when I am doing what I'm called to do, that's when I have an impact on people and can inspire them and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what that represents. Very symbolic. There's a lot of other stuff that comes into that. But anyway, okay, Keanu, gentle. This one all about how God... Alright, you just go over there. This one's all about Jesus lives inside my heart. Sometimes I feel like my heart is shredded. This one, sometimes it feels like my heart is erased and blacked out. This one is when it feels like my heart has been crushed. Okay, come on. This one is when my heart feels like it's shattered. This one, though, represents my heart wanting to help and reach out my hands and help people. And this one represents me, my identity. Oh, so yeah, basically all of this I can remember encourages me that in those times where I feel shredded and torn and broken and crushed and all that kind of stuff, I can remember that my heart is created good, that God created my heart, and that He made me to be me, represented as blue, that He made me for relationship, and that He made me for community. And that's how He made all of us. But life can do things to you and your heart where you feel like you are all alone and can never, be with people or something. So this one is just that reminder that He is restoring not only my heart, but all hearts. And that one day we will all fully be ourselves and fully be able to be in relationship with each other and with God. And He models this in His Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And they are in perfect relationship with each other, and so one day we will enter into that fully, that kind of relationship fully with him and other people when heaven comes to earth. So awesome. All right, come here kitty, come here kitty. So it allows me to be okay with each of these times when I feel like this. I mean, throughout life, all of us, again, whether we have depression or anxiety or not, all of us at times will feel these things. Our heart will get battered sometimes, it will break sometimes, you know, it's all normal part of life. But in those times to know that God is healing, God is restoring, and yeah. This one is called something like Skin. And I got this insight at the end of the year one time that what God was doing with me was taking off my clothes. Okay, this sounds weird. He was removing an outfit from me and was giving me a new one to step into for the next year. And that became a little bit of an analogy for all of life. Like as we continue growing, we realize we have outgrown our clothing, our outfits that maybe people have given us, we've given ourselves, or society has given us, that were wrong fits. They were too big or too baggy, and they did okay because they covered us up and they're fine and helped us to live. But as we continue growing and as God grows us, we Keanu, we get down to better and better fitting outfits that he gives us. And eventually one day we'll get down to skin, you know, Garden of Eden skin, where it's just like we are so comfortable in our own skin, being who we are. Okay, cool. Keanu, you're being a bit playful at the moment. You're allowed up here if you're going to sit still, but... Alright. So, this one's called Treasure Chest, one of my core beliefs. That everyone has treasure in them, and this is why I just see God in all people. I mean, people are amazing, and I just want to know everything about them. I want to know how they think, how they feel, their dreams, their passions, their background, their stories, their experience. I want to know their wisdom. I want to know everything about them because I just think they're so amazing. And we all have different treasure in us. Maybe it's your humor, maybe it's your caring nature, maybe it's your ability to I don't know, calm things down. I don't know, our personality is a gift, our talents are a gift, our stories are a gift, our wisdom are gifts, and we all have different rubies and diamonds and emeralds and gold and silver in us, and let them shine. I mean, I hear a lot that people are like, oh, I don't have any gifts, or you know, I've got nothing to give, and I just think, like, that is so far from the truth. I just can't stop seeing gifts in people, and it kind of baffles me that they don't see it themselves, and I understand, I totally understand, because we all have, we can all be pretty negative about ourselves, but if people saw themselves the way I kind of saw them, you know, with just how rich and overflowing they are in gifts, then I wish I could do that so that they would never have to doubt what they have to give. And it's not in an arrogant way. Like, I feel like people can be, no, I don't have any gifts, and they like saying that because they don't want to claim them for fear of being arrogant and selfish or wanting the limelight. And I know this because I was that person. I was always deflecting attention off me, saying, oh, don't look at me, and don't look at all my good things, let's look at your good things. There's that quote, people are more afraid of their light than the darkness. Totally get that. I totally fully get that. But I've travelled along the journey far enough along to know, let that light shine. I mean, it's still terrifying sometimes, and I've got a lot to learn, but I feel like I just, you know, I can get kind of frustrated when people don't see the treasure in them, and I just want to call out all of this treasure, and to let people know you're allowed to call this out. I mean, when I see people fully live in their gifts and things, not in an arrogant way, but just fully living who they are, it is the most beautiful thing. That confidence and all of that, it does make people beautiful. So that's that one. And then this one is called Be Like Rain, and such a simple message, but so powerful to me, helps me a lot. Okay, so I got this insight about rain. It's I never thought I'd get an insight about rain because it's so bland and, you know, every day. But Rain is good at what it does. It just rains, and there is value in rain because of what it does. It, waters plants and gives us. It gives us life. It gives plants life. It gives us water to drink. Helps trees grow. We need rain. But there's also value in rain itself for, it delights when we rush to our windows and watch it rain. If it hasn't rained in a very long time, we're like rushing to our windows and like just staring at the rain and enjoying it. And we can splash in puddles and have fun in it and dance in the rain. And I can tell Keanu wants to jump on me again. It really encouraged me at a time when I was questioning my calling in life, I suppose, my purpose in life. And actually the movie La La Land helped me, along with this message about rain, to embrace my purpose and not worry what anyone else thinks. The only reason I suppose I didn't, why I doubted my purpose and calling was because I felt like other people didn't get it. They could look at me and go, why are you doing that? And I'd be like, oh, I didn't have the conviction in myself to say it's what I'm called to do because I was too worried about their judgment. I'm called to write and create to uphold the worth and dignity in all people. That is how I see it. Not everyone gets that. Not everyone gets the creative jobs. Not everyone sees value in it. Anyway, could rant on that for a bit. Anyway, so Rain, that movie, they were creative. One was an actor and one was in a jazz band singing or something. And I was just looking at that and seeing how, I don't know, in a really roundabout way, that told me go after what you are passionate about, go after your dreams. All I'm responsible for is living my purpose and calling that God calls me to do. I don't have to worry what people think about it, because if I do what I'm made to do, I'm going to be like rain and bring life. It will impact people somehow. Maybe it will let them know they're not alone through my art and my words, and let them know that they're understood, or maybe it will challenge them or teach them something and change some thought or something. I know lots of books have changed the way I've thought and even changed my behaviour in life. So that is my hope with my words and stuff. But yeah, it's value as well just in itself. So even if my words and my creating did nothing to help other people, there's still value in me doing it because it brings me delight and it helps me. And I had to learn, one of the things I had to learn through my whole journey was that we're allowed to feel delight. We're allowed to just simply enjoy life, which was a novel concept for me at the time of depression and anxiety, that God just wants to pour out his delight on us. And God just wants to pour out his delight on us, because it makes him happy to see us when we are delighting in him and what he gives us. So that's that one. So I hope it's an encouragement to you guys. Do what you are made to do and don't feel guilty about it. I felt so much guilt my whole life about doing what I love to do, about going after my dreams and purpose. But it's when we do those things that we bring life, and it's when we do those things that God gets delight watching us do those things that delight us. Alright, Keanu, stop that now. Stop. Alright, I'm going to stop there, charge my camera. Did you see that? That was him jumping up on my front. Alright. So, Keanu, no. I'm going to stop the camera there, charge it up, and I'll be back to share more. Thanks guys for watching. Oh, and I forgot to say this at the end of my videos, but feel free to share which ones speak to you the most and how they speak to you. Feel free to share your own stories, because you never know who might read it and who might needed to have heard what you had to say. Alright, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.